It's not often that fiction comes to life. The original Dune, a groundbreaking science fiction book by Tacoma author Frank Herbert, imagined a world that had seen incredible ecological destruction. And now, the 2021 movie Dune centers on reclaiming that world from the sand. But what's really cool is that in the city where Frank Herbert grew up, the city that inspired Dune's planetary damage, is a real-life ending to that story. A real-life Dune. We're talking about Dune Peninsula at Point Defiance Park. Let me tell you a little bit about Frank Herbert. Frank was born in 1920, and he had the kind of childhood that seems impossible today. At age 9, he rode from Tacoma to the San Juan Islands, all on his own. At 14, he swam across the Tacoma Narrows, again, alone. But this Lincoln High School graduate wasn't just outdoorsy. He loved books and writing. He wrote for the Tacoma Ledger and the Tacoma Times, and for a while he was a speechwriter for an Oregon senator. It was there that he discovered the dunes along the Oregon coast, and the idea of a world covered with giant sand dunes was born. But it was here in Tacoma that the environmental message of Dune was born. Because Frank had a deep respect for nature, especially the Puget Sound. And the polluting of the Sound during the 1950s dismayed him. A copper smelter next to Point Defiance spewed out a daily stream of arsenic and cadmium into the air and water. As Frank said, the Asarco smelter created air so thick you could chew it. That pollution created Frank's resolve that something had to be done to save the Earth. That resolve became Dune. When Dune was published in 1965, it became a science fiction landmark. The environmental theme was a big part of that. Dune is a message, not just an excuse to write about ray guns. It's something to be taken seriously, especially today, as we face the planetary threat of climate change. But now, planet Earth has its own Dune, right here in Tacoma. Dune Peninsula Park opened in 2019 after years of community collaboration. Spearheaded by Metro Parks Tacoma, the toxic smelter site was cleaned up, capped to contain dangerous chemicals, and sculpted into a stunning landscape of flowing dunes and rocky shores. Now, birds stop and feed. Harbor seals rest. People gather with friends, hear concerts, and have picnics. It's a place of peace, of belonging for people and wildlife. What's so cool about Dune Peninsula is that our collective actions to create this park mirror the book and the movie. There, characters called the Fremen plan to restore their planet after colonial exploitation and ecological collapse. And that's very much like what we did with this park. We've taken a wasteland, created by the very smelter that inspired Dune, and we've turned it into a beautiful place of nature. That cyclical theme is what's so hopeful. We can use this park to remember our past environmental mistakes, while celebrating how we can change them for the future. It will take time and working together, but we can do it. Wherever we come from, we can make a new beginning. We can protect our place and restore balance. There's no better place on Earth to remember that Dune promise than right here in Tacoma.